Hey, everybody, welcome. Good morning. Welcome to Prophetic Lifestyles with Bernard Bolton, where we are making the prophetic practical, bringing the prophetic into everyday life, and seeing the future now. And I hope that the future that you are seeing is awesome, powerful, inspiring, and that you cannot wait to enter into the reality and manifestation of the presence that the Lord is showing you, rather the future that the Lord is showing you. But while we are here, okay, while we are here today, today is the present, tomorrow's the future. We want to live fully in today. We want to be present in today. We want to celebrate life today and honor and give praises to our Lord. So, hey, I wanted to talk this in this week's video. I want to talk about how to get healed from missed prophecies. I think all of us have encountered receiving a prophetic word or receiving prophetic ministry and having a word of the Lord, word of knowledge, word of wisdom, word that was sent to exhort us, encourage us. And many of those words were words speaking of the present or the future, and it didn't come to pass. And for a great many of us, all of the prophetic words that you have received have not come to pass. And as a result, that has left you it's left you feeling a certain way. For many people, and what I've seen, what I've encountered from persons who have received prophetic words that didn't come to pass, for a lot of people, it creates bitterness. A lot of believers are bitter because a word was prophesied. It was prophesied that you would be married to a certain person. It didn't happen. It would be prophesied that you would be wealthy. It hasn't come to pass, or that you would be in a much better place, and that hasn't happened. And as a result of these misprophetic words, it has created bitterness in your soul, bitterness in your mind. For other persons, you have become offended because of misprophetic words, and now you operate in offense. One of the things that I often do is I visit other channels of persons. Some are prophets, some are prophetic, some use prophecy in order to draw people to their channels and their products and all of that. And what I've often seen, and particularly for those persons who feel like they are the judges of the prophetic, and they love pointing fingers of condemnation and judgment at prophets and prophetic people. And then you can look in the comment section, and there will be sometimes hundreds of persons who will agree with that word, that opinion of that prophetic person. And so what I've seen is the reason why a lot of people agree is because they themselves have received a word that miss. And so as a result, they are now bitter, and they are now offended. And some of them are angry, and some of them are anti-prophets. And so every prophet is a false prophet, and every prophetic person is false, because you have had a misword in your life, and it has caused you to be either bitter or offended. So I want to talk today to you about getting healed, because because it's important that we get healed from disappointments. And when you have, put a lot of stock in a prophetic word, it didn't happen in the time that you thought it should happen, it didn't come to pass. Other things begin to contradict that word, and all of this, and you need healing. And so I want to speak to you today about how to get healed from missed prophetic words. How do we get healed from that? All right. Now, first thing I want to say is a lot of times what needs to be healed is our emotions, our feelings. So that is actually the healing needs to take place in the mind. It needs to take place in our minds, okay? And so we need to be healed from the hurt of that prophetic word. Or we need to be healed from putting all of our confidence in the person who prophesied to us, and then the prophetic word did not come to pass. The church, the body of Christ, the ecclesia, needs to be healed. Even though it's 2 years from the last presidential election, many believers lost faith in prophets and in the prophetic because many prophets, well-known prophets, prophesied the re-election of Donald Trump, and it didn't happen. So the church needs healing from that. All right. The church needs to be healed. And some people need to be healed because they are still under the delusion that Donald Trump is coming back and this is the Lord's doing. I'm not sure. He may run again, but I'm not sure that he's coming back. But my point is we need healing from the hurt, and we need to be healed from the bitterness and from the offense and even from the anger that is being projected towards those prophets or those prophetic people, because everybody that prophesies is not a prophet. And there are many persons here on YouTube that, they have great prophetic channels. They prophesy, but they're not prophets. They're just operating in the gift of the prophetic or prophesying, which is actually a gift that all of us can operate in. All of us, according to Apostle Paul, all of us can prophesy. Most of us don't. Okay, even in my network, all of my mentees and the network that I lead don't prophesy, even though the prophetic is a major emphasis of what we do as a network. So many of you don't prophesy, but some of you that do prophesy, and some of you who are prophets, even you have missed it. All right. So let's talk. I want to talk first about the bitterness that often comes. Okay, what the bitterness that often comes, because bitterness is actually anger that moves. It is anger that moves or flows through the soul and the body. It moves and flows through the mind. Okay, and so bitterness is also discontent. All right, the discontent, the opposite of content, because contentment means to be at peace. It means to be in a place of firmness, stability, and really just being glad for your life, for your portion of life. That is what contentment is. Discontentment, however, is not having that peace, not being in that place of firmness or stability, and that is often because of bitterness. So many of you that receive personal prophetic words, they did not come to pass, and that has made you bitter. Others have been offended, and that word offended actually means to stumble. Okay, it means to fall over. So the prophetic word that was supposed to be creating a path to destiny became a stumbling block, and you've been stumbling over it, and you've been falling over that prophetic word, and you can't move on because that word keeps tripping you. Okay, and then of course anger is the outward expression of bitterness. Bitterness is the emotion that exists within us. It exists in your soul, and it can actually manifest as sickness in your body. This is why we have to be healed from bitterness. I don't want any of you to hold on to bitterness from a misprophetic word, because it can actually destroy your health. Okay, it can create migraine, headaches, it can cause your blood pressure to go up, it can elevate your heart rate and cause your heart to become troubled. So bitterness is very very, very dangerous. And the Bible calls it poison. And one verse, I think it's in Hebrews 12, where it talks about the poison of bitterness. Bitterness is poison. All right. So we want to get healed. So whatever negative emotions that you're having toward the prophetic, toward a misprophetic word, or even toward a prophet or a prophetic person that may have prophesied to you, and that word has not come to pass, and even though you can't put a time frame on a prophetic word, there are some words that did miss, because every word is attached to a season or a time where it should come to pass. All right. So if you're still holding on to a word that may be 10 years or 20 years old, that word may be a missed word. I do believe that there is some things we have to do according to time. Abraham received the word of the Lord, and the word of the Lord to Abraham is that you will have a son. It was 25 years before that prophetic word came to pass. All right. Now, one of the reasons why it took 25 years is because Abraham slept with Hagar, which was his choice, but he slept with Hagar, which was not a part of that word, but that was his decision. And at 89, he had Hagar and Abraham produce Ishmael, and so it would be another 13 years before Abraham and Sarah would come together to produce Isaac. So sometimes a word is delayed by your decision. Okay, instead of waiting on God. I don't think it would have taken them 25 years. It may have, but I believe the reason why it was 25 years is because when Abraham fathered Ishmael, then that delayed the coming of that word. Okay, so every word is to come to pass in time. Some words we have to wait. I know when the Lord told me that I was coming out of religion, he said I was coming out, that I would be leaving. Don't look for another church. Don't try to go to another church. It was 5 years before that came to pass. But I was holding on to what the Lord had said, and I was preparing I was growing into what the Lord was saying. And then the Lord was giving the church that I was at, he was giving them opportunities to repent and turn. So there was a lot of things going on why it took five. I didn't take the Lord 5 years to bring you out. But once I reached that season of movement, things started to accelerate. And in a 3-month period, I was moving in, I was leaving Virginia, going into South Carolina. So there is a time frame that you have to wait, and you have to be patient. But I'm not talking about the timing of a word. I'm talking about a word that missed, a word that didn't come to pass. Now let's look at why are some prophetic words missed? Why is it that some prophetic words don't come to pass? Okay, well, number one, many of us don't know how to steward a prophetic word. So that means that there is a part for you to do. When God told Abraham he would have a son, there was a lot that Abraham had to do in order for that son to come to pass. First of all, he had to leave home. He had to leave his country. He had to wait on God. He had to be faithful to his wife. He had to go through the land as he was receiving the land by faith. And so many of us don't know how to steward a prophetic word. So you get a prophetic word and you're just waiting. You ain't doing nothing. You're not making any adjustments. You're not changing. You're not, so when you don't know how to steward a prophetic word, then you will not see that word come to pass. Faith and works. Faith. See, a prophetic word is faith. And so, but then there is works, and works is what we do. Faith is what God gives us. So when the Bible talks about God giving us a measure of faith, that measure of faith comes through what God has spoken, what God is saying. So that measure of faith comes through the prophetic word or the prophetic words. So that's God's part. Then works is the energy that we are operating in to see that word come to pass. Some prophetic words, God is going to bring it to pass, and all you have to do is believe. But then some prophetic words, it requires your participation. In order for Noah's family to be saved, the Lord said he would save Noah's family. That was a prophetic word. But then Noah had to build the ark that would be the instrument, the physical instrument through which God will save the family. Okay, so that's one reason why many prophecies are missed, because we don't know how to do our part. We don't know how to steward a word. Then number two, many of us don't believe the word. You just don't believe. You doubt it. You have no faith for that word. Okay, that doesn't make sense. I don't believe that. God ain't saying that to me. And so your doubt and your unbelief actually it actually rejects that word and makes that word of no effect, which means that that word doesn't have power to operate in your life, doesn't have permission to operate in your life, and doesn't have a place for it to grow and to manifest. All right. Number three, many of us miss the prophetic word because we're not growing in the prophetic. Some words are given to us to grow us, to mature us. Okay. There are some, because there's a lot of prophetic words you don't need no maturity for. The Lord's going to give you a house. The Lord's going to give you a car. The Lord's going to give you a job. Well, if the Lord's going to give you a job, that's a prophetic word. All you got to do is look for the job. Okay. So some words we don't have to grow for. Some words are elementary, but then some words are given to us and you have to mature. You have to mature into that. You have to grow into it. It is not going to happen until you grow, because if you don't grow, you will not be able to receive it, and it will not be an inheritance or a portion for you. Okay? Many of you are receiving words about finance, and the Lord wants to bless, the Lord wants to increase you financially. But then some of you have to grow in your understanding of how to steward finances, how to increase finances, how to be a better steward over your finances. Okay? The Lord wants to give you, many words are prophesying about ministry and business, but you're not ready. You're not ready for ministry because you're too selfish. And you're not ready for the marketplace because you have not even learned the skills of how to do business. So some prophetic words, the reason why we miss some words is because we receive that word and we don't grow into it. All right. And then the fourth reason why we miss prophetic words is the person who prophesied that word missed it. They gave you a wrong word. They may have been prophesying out of their flesh, or they may have been hearing God and they was prophesying it according to their doctrine. They were prophesying according to their religious orientation. And so as a result, they took the word of God and they fashioned it after their own understanding. And it was a missed word. Some people just prophesy because they have a desire for you. They have a genuine desire for you, but their desire is not aligned with God's desire. Okay? They may want you to have more. They may want you to be healed. They may want you to to have a deliverance. And they prophesy that out of their souls instead of prophesying from the Lord. So sometimes the person does miss it. Doesn't mean that they are false. They're a false prophet. Okay. I'm going to do a video on false prophecy and false prophets and what they are. Because most of us, when I see a lot of people use this term, they don't really know what false prophets are. They really don't get it. Okay, but sometimes the person does miss it, and if you miss a prophetic word, you have to be humble enough to own it and say, "Hey, I missed it. I didn't hear God, or I put my own thinking into that, and I'm sorry." All right. And so, how then do we get healed? And I'll be finished in about 5 more minutes. Thank you for watching and for your patience. Uh, how do we get healed from a prophetic word? First of all, you have to speak your healing. So you have to, just like the word was spoken to you, you have to speak to your soul and you have to declare, I'm healed. If you recognize that there is bitterness, there is offense, there is anger in you from a prophetic word, you have to speak to that and you have to declare that I am healed. You have to confess, okay, which means that you are lining up with what the Lord is saying regarding bitterness, offense, anger, and whatever negative emotion that you're feeling from that missed opportunity. Okay, you have to pray for the person. Don't allow that offense to cause you to reject them or to despise them, but pray for them. Pray. We have to pray for the prophets. We gotta get out of this judgment and condemnation. And you're a false prophet, and you know the devil is using you. Someone just wrote me the other day, commented on one of my videos, and they said that the Lord was not speaking to me from this number, but evil spirits was speaking to me, and that I better be aware. Okay, that person doesn't know me. That I'm laughing because it's no way that I could be offended, but I recognize a religious spirit, a Pharisaic spirit that's full of judgment and condemnation. That person was full of judgment and condemnation. Of course, I did what I always do. I removed their comment. I did not respond to it. And I blessed that person and prayed that their eyes will be open to God speaking through prophetic numbers. I believe God speaks to us through numbers. I saw a number. I'm here on vacation this week, having a glorious week. And I saw my personal prophetic number when I was at the airport on Sunday. And I knew that when I saw that number, I knew the Lord was blessing this week. And it's been one of the best weeks of my life. Okay. And so you have to forgive and you have to pray. Okay. And when I read that word of condemnation, I prayed for that person. I don't know them, but I prayed that they would have that the revelation of God would be open to them. All right. Healing occurs in the mind. If you're going to be healed from a misword, you have to be healed in your mind. So in your mind, you have to have the right thoughts about the prophetic. There was a period in my life about 10 years ago where I had gotten sick of the prophetic, gotten tired of prophecy, got tired of all of the people prophesying the same thing. And I was really ready to walk away from the prophetic, even though the prophetic has changed my life. I was ready to walk away from it, but then the Lord told me to change my thoughts about the prophetic and the prophetic people. And when I started to think good, and I started to think virtue, and I started to think, I started to think peace. When my thoughts started changing, my heart started changing, my mind started changing. Okay, so you have to change your thoughts. Start thinking good thoughts about the prophetic, and even those that miss. Okay, begin to think good thoughts about them. Then pray for your emotions. Pray that your emotions will be healed. Pray for yourself. Pray that you will be delivered from bitterness and offense and anger and whatever else you're feeling. Pray that you be healed from that. And then and then begin to make the right choices. Don't believe everybody who prophesies to you. Okay? A lot of these people on YouTube, you don't have a relationship with them. I don't I don't follow prophets that I don't have a relationship with. Thankfully, I have several prophets in my life who speaks into my life, and I have even among my mentees. One of my mentees had a dream that I shared in another video a few days ago, and I knew that that was God. And so right now, I'm living in her dream. And so, make the right choices, choose the right people. Don't just embrace somebody because they're prophesying. Make the right choices about who you are following on YouTube. What prophets are you aligning with? What prophets are you supporting through your givings? Which prophets are you connecting with in their business enterprises? Okay, make the right choices. And as that healing comes in your mind through your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, then your heart is going to start changing. I've had a few missed prophetic words, okay, but I still honor the prophet. I honor the prophet, and I probably will have some more. There is some most of the prophetic words that I've received have come to pass. Some I'm still waiting for years later. Okay, but I believe in the prophetic. So get healed from those miswords and embrace the prophetic. God is speaking, and God is speaking his heart and his intent. Shalom. God bless you. Please subscribe to our channel, like this video, share it with others. Go to our description box and check out some of the resources that we have available. If we actually have a few online courses on the mind, because that's where real healing takes place, in the mind. So if you want to check out some of our resources on the mind, you can do that. God bless you. Shalom.